Hello, everyone. Guess who's back? No need for applause. I want to, before I get into anything else tonight, quickly, I thought this whole bang in front of my eyes thing was going to look good, and now it's just distracting. I'm so sorry. I want to quickly talk about where I've been. Whew. So, the astute among you may have noticed that I have been missing for a while. Just about, feel like it's been like 5 months. It's most likely been 4, but it feels like 5. The people who I've worked with professionally and otherwise might know that This is my alarm, I'm so sorry. The people I've worked with professionally and otherwise may have noticed over the last year or so I've been pretty unreliable, which is odd for me. I actually am very reliable most of the time. Sorry, I'm looking into my viewfinder. Like always, no matter how much I try to run a professional setup, I never can, it seems. I'm usually very reliable at something. If I say I'm going to get a job done, you best know that job is getting done by the specified time, even if I flake out and am an idiot and an asshole the whole way through. I'm getting it done, and it's going to be at the very minimum satisfactory, and that's scraping the barrel. So what's been going on? Well, fact of the matter is, I actually don't know. I have to speculate it was burnout of some form. I'm not sure how true that was. My camera refuses to focus. I'm being distracted by everything today. I do know that at some point it was burnout, and at some point it was just compounding factors of bullshit piled on bullshit. And that for some reason I just couldn't find it in me to do work that I desperately want to do, that I had wanted to do, that I want to do still. I just couldn't pick up the pen to draw. I couldn't, put my finished videos into a editing pro or like to like upload. I couldn't edit videos. I couldn't do anything, dude. I am working currently, unfortunately still, on a video essay, and I remember that for a long time working on this video essay, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. And it was just because I couldn't bring myself to, actually, put words to paper. Even when I could, I was never happy with it. I didn't think I was doing a good job. And for Christ's sakes, I think I'm not doing a good job now, but if I'm not doing a good job now, I'm still gonna upload what I make because I still want to finish it, I don't know what caused me to start flaking out on tasks that I do, that I want to do, that I need to do, that I'm passionate about. But what I do know is recently I have started feeling better. For about 2 months now, I want to say, I've been really trying to discipline myself. That sounds dirty. Not that kind of discipline. I've been trying to set times where I clean every day, set times where I work out every day. I've been trying to watch what I eat. I noticed apparently I wasn't getting enough protein. That will screw you over in a heartbeat. I noticed after I started working out consistently, I felt better throughout the day, and I especially felt better after working out. It's hard to like encourage myself to start working out every day, but when I do, it's amazing and the best thing that I do all day. I look forward to the feeling after I run. I started cleaning consistently, and there's no better feeling than right after I break my back trying to like pick up a mess that has generated for the last like 2.5 years, you know, covered in sweat and desperately needing a shower and realizing I made really good work. So I don't know what happened, but I know how I am right now. And I know that how I am right now is feeling good about everything. And not like manic feeling good. I still have all of like my normal like issues. By God, I think I'm working through them healthily. It sounds insane, but I really do. And the worst thing in the world that I could imagine right this moment in time is that I stop working out or I stop cleaning consistently and I lose this drive because my environment gets worse again and I no longer have like all I think it's endorphins after working out saying, hey, you did a good job, and you're doing good work consistently. You'll do better tomorrow and you did great today. So as far as where I've been on probably the most anxiety ridden point in my life and the best and most productive point in my life while productive I mean as in productive for like my well-being, not on a grind or something. I wish I had a better answer for where I've been, but truly, like, there was 2 months there where I wasn't doing anything. I was staring at my computer screen, not knowing how to pick myself up, as well as some personal drama. And yeah, now again, best point in my life. I genuinely think. I I know that after I like go on a like 30-minute run and like 10 minutes of like squats and like I clean for an hour and a half. I'm sitting there after all of that, like dying on the floor, like thinking about how I'm gonna pitch this to someone else because they're like I'm sitting there absolutely thrilled with myself. So without further ado, I want to get into today's news. We've got some doozies ready. The beer wasn't just for a regaling. Now, our main and also shortest story tonight is a self-immolation incident from a U.S. Air Force member who's doing a protest against the Israeli government and in solidarity with Palestine. Now, there isn't really anything to say here. I could go in and talk about the gruesome details. I don't want to, for obvious reasons. I'm sure if you've been on Twitter, you've probably seen the screenshot. there's that's about it. Israel is awful. The Palestinians the Palestinians need all the support they can get. I would personally recommend that you don't set yourself on fire because, it's helpful to have, warm bodies, but not too warm bodies, helping Palestine. That's my thought. I mean, I guess to each their own, but, I I think it's good when I can do effective action, you know, for the causes I care about. That's all. Um, Apparently, something I didn't know like before starting this story is that apparently they were live streaming this, and that's that's interesting. I guess that's one way of making sure there's a record that you did it. So yeah, there's not really any good summary for this, unfortunately. Um, I'd love to say something like nuanced or witty or something, but there just really isn't. Um, when I'm looking at human barbecue, I'm looking at human barbecue. That's about it. So I suppose with that unsatisfying description of what's going on, we should probably go to our next story. Now, our next story is CPAC members being CPAC members. So some just honest to God neo-Nazis, like I think they went as far as being self-described as national socialists. Very, very. I don't want to make like an ironic like, oh, very cool, that's great. I love the direction we're going in, because I feel like someone might actually misunderstand what I'm saying and be like, what? Yeah, so it's been pretty evident that CPAC is like the convention for open fascists and Nazis for a while, but they haven't been so okay with it in the past. Like they have at the very least tried to act like that's not what they want to do. Like the thing on screen right now is talking about how normally they get pushed out, and this year they were just allowed to talk with, I think it was Turning Point USA. I could be mistaken. I can't see the font in my viewfinder, but fun times had by all, I guess. Or not really. I mean, I guess they had fun. They got to go on, their little TV show and talk with their little fascist celebrities. So fun. We love the death of the fuck. Forgetting the word. Give me a moment. Death of the innuendo. That's what I mean. No, that's not what I mean. Whatever. They're no longer dog whistling. They're no longer trying to pretend they're not saying openly fascist things. It's a doom spiral. I don't really want to be like super doomer in this episode, but there's just a lot of bullshit that needs trudging through. And this is part of that, unfortunately. I could be wrong, but I think hold on. Okay, so I couldn't remember if Charlie Kirk was part of Turning Point USA. From what I can remember of Kirk, they didn't really want to openly admit they were a fascist, despite having explicitly fascist point of views on just about everything. So the fact that they're like just mingling with open fascists now is kind of a problem. I'm not sure if Charlie Kirk was at CPAC, but Considering that it was listed as Turning Point USA, I have to assume, yeah, Charlie Kirk was probably there. And so they were probably mingling with Charlie Kirk. And others. I just remember the name Charlie Kirk. He's, after all, I think the biggest, like, name from Turning Point. So I guess there's that. We should probably move on to our next story. Also, I'm kind of breezing through these because I wanted an easier time this week, just while I'm returning to trying to YouTube and work on things that I'm passionate about. And it's like, I know I'm still kind of in a lull, so I don't want to I don't want to push it too hard. So I'm sorry if I'm like going a bit fast, or if I'm not, putting a nuance where I should. I'm kind of just, I'm on low batteries right now. I'm trying to make sure this is, first and foremost point of this show is just to go through news that might go underreported elsewise. So if I'm not putting enough nuance on something, that's why. Anyhow. Okay, our next story. I actually do not have enough information on this story. And if you have more information on this story, explicitly from the walkout perspective, I would love to read it, because I was not able to find any sources from that perspective. South Korea has a issue right now where a lot of young doctors have walked out. They are staging a walkout, and I believe 2/3 it was. I think I read on Reuters it was about 2/3 of the trainee doctors have walked out and are refusing to see patients. They're refusing to do surgery. They are not there. They are doing a walkout. Now, from what I can tell and from what I've read, the concerns from the people who have done the walkout, the trainee doctors, has been concerns of work conditions and pay. And the inciting incident behind this is apparently the South Korean government was trying to increase how many students, doctors were trained year over year, so that there were more medical staff. And that makes sense. And yeah, I want more information here. I don't have as much information as I would like, unfortunately. I feel like you wouldn't just do a walkout because you're a little mad at pay and some students are being trained, some extra students are being trained. That doesn't add up to me. I saw one thing, and I didn't get an asset prepared for this, but on AP News, I think someone cited that they're expecting most of the new students that are going in right now to be trying to get the super high paying jobs, while not many people will be doing general doctoring stuff, learning how to do pediatric care, general health, emergency care, that kind of stuff. And so that could be a problem. I'm gonna be honest. I really want to know more before I talk about this, because as far as I can figure, the South Korean government trying to increase how many doctors are trained is good. They are dealing with a doctor shortage, and even if most of the doctors that are currently being trained try to go for high-profile jobs, they will probably end up working general doctoring jobs. I really want to know more because Reuters mentioned something about the walkout being about poor work conditions, and I really want to know what that's about because I am guessing, I can speculate at a few things, but I really honestly don't know. I didn't get anything from the side of like the student, the trainees who have walked out. I can speculate that the medical staff is probably being underpaid and subjected to really rigorous hours and probably not enough equipment, or not equipment, but like dealing with supply shortages like just about every medical institution globally. So they're probably doing a walkout because they don't want more people being trained and subjected to the same fundamental institutional issues, even though they need more staff. But I really don't know. I don't know. I really want to do more reading on this. And honestly, I'm probably not going to cover it next week if this is something that, like, I did a terrible job explaining it, but if this is something that, like, interests you at all, hey, Reuters accounts are free. AP News is free. They're free. Go read them. Yeah, I sincerely don't know what this is about, though it seems pretty bad. Like 2/3 of the trainees just walking out. I'm not sure if there's solidarity protests with them or not. I'm not sure if there's solidarity movements with the government. I saw like patient solidarity with the government, which is not helpful. Patients are going to always prefer their own, best interest, which is to end a doctor protest. Yeah, dude, no, I feel painfully out of the loop on this one, and I am trying to do the best I can with the little information I have. Maybe I missed something huge. Anyway, we should probably move on to our next story, which I think might be the funny story. One moment. Oh, yeah, it is. And we're going to have another story where I don't have the asset on screen most of the time because I made it too big. Okay, so conservatives are really trying to push the idea that all black people are sneakerheads, and furthermore, them being sneakerheads will make them want to vote for Trump. Dog. Conservatives understanding black people challenge, rating impossible. Conservatives understanding any fucking minority at all. You got a better chance. You got a better chance of just actually seeing God at that point. Because it's impossible. Yeah, there isn't much to talk about here. I tried to get an asset of it, or I tried to include a picture of it in the asset. So let's see if I can actually quickly make this bigger for a moment. Oh. Oops. Okay, now let's try and make it bigger. So, this is the shoe. This is the shoe they are trying to pitch. I didn't get a super great picture of it, but in all fairness, there isn't a good picture of it. It's a shoe. It looks like the Soulja Boy console, but as a shoe. It looks like it was a shoe that was like fast fashion print job. Like they took like a recycled piece of rubber, and by recycled I mean like not like gone through a recycling process, but rather like, you know, they cut a tire and, you know, painted it white, and then they just like put some like acrylic padding, not acrylic, whatever the plastic, polyester. Yeah, they took some polyester padding and then just spray painted that like gold. It looks like ass. That's the end all be all. I'm not a sneakerhead. I know enough about them. I know enough about shoes and sneakerheads to know this is possibly the worst shoe I have ever seen. It's so bad, dude. Oh my god. Dude. I don't have a video of it, but you should really treat yourself to a viewing of Trump talking about this shoe at like the shoe convention that was in like Philly. I think it was in Philly. It may have been in Pennsylvania. Cause like the crowd just boos. The crowd is just like, get off the stage. I wish I was joking. It was such a bad reaction. It was. I feel like I'm laughing at a joke that no one else knows, because like that shit was so bad. Oh my god. Okay. I'm going to do the last story for the night, and it's gonna be a story. You'll have to bear with me on it. It's about like a hyperfixation, so okay, so our last story for the night is it's a little more. The Indian government is still dealing with the farmers' opposition to rolling back the subsidy for crop. Essentially, India used to, I'm not sure if they still are, I'm going to assume they have fully stopped, just for the sake of like conversation, though, and I don't know if they've completely rolled it back yet or if it's in the process of being rolled back. Anyhow, in the Indian government used to fully subsidize crops from farmers so that food was at like set prices. Farmers would always be compensated, and it dealt with a lot of issues. Now, I have been tracking this story for a while. I'm not like clued in on specifics, but I'm like clued in on like the general gist. This has been going for a while. I think since like 2000, at the very least, I think like since 2016, but I could be mistaken. Brain stopped working, sorry. So I want to break down some of the details surrounding this story real quick. So I initially supported the pre-existing policy. The Indian government buys crops, and the farmers are compensated. The farmers get a consistent amount of money for how much work they do. The Indian government has a huge reserve of crops and can distribute the crops better than private entities or farmers can. So this sounds great. The Indian government can also adjust the price of crops so they can sell it at a more reasonable price than if they were letting private entities run it. A lot of good reasons for the Indian government to buy the crops, to subsidize the crops. Later, I switched, because I have a hate boner for subsidy, to saying, no, it's good the Indian government stopped subsidizing the crops. Like, subsidies at large are terrible. They are a temporary solution to long-term systemic issues. We should only use subsidies like that. We should only subsidize when it is absolutely necessary. And in fairness, the farmers getting compensated was at one point necessary. And you could probably make an argument that it still is, but it's something you subsidize for 3 years while you build infrastructure to have a more lasting solution. Now I am mixed. I kind of support the subsidy, honestly. Like, conditionally, critically, but I support the subsidy more than I did like a few years ago. I have serious issues with subsidies, and I will make something, probably either short series or at the very least a 30-minute video essay talking about subsidies and how corporations, private interests, governments and taxpayers and tax dollars interact with one another in the glorious economic policy we call a subsidy. The important part of this story, however, is that the farmers are getting very much neglected. The farmers who used to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, and it is important to note that these are actual rural farmers. These are poor working class farmers. These are not the normal mega farming companies, because the mega farming companies are already getting treated well by the Indian government. They are not getting affected by this. It is the poor rural farmers who are getting affected, who need the who need the subsidy more than the companies. So, sorry, my ears really bothering me as it do. As you can see on this chart, I can't actually see the specific numbers, so I won't be able to read out very accurate data. Pre-COVID farmers were like better off. Pre-COVID, everything was better off. This is because the Indian government, like every government, used COVID as an excuse to be a little worse to all of their citizens. I don't think most governments do it because they're malicious, but I do think Modi is an asshole dictator, dickweed asshole. I don't think Modi was explicitly like, yes, I want to fuck over the poor farmers. Except I kind of on some level do think that. We have seen authoritarians think like that before. We will see them think like it again. And it's not out of Modi's MO to act like that. The real thing that I found interesting, if I can remember what it is, one moment. Oh, yeah, okay. The real thing that really surprises me about all of this is this has been like a contentious issue in India, like over the last, for the entire duration of this crisis. People's food prices are going up because, there's literally less distribution systems guaranteeing food. There's less farmers that can make food. The farmers that can still make food are corporations, and so they're going to really gouge people. The farmers, the poor rural farmers, are getting screwed over. They are not going to be able to take care of themselves or their crop or anything. They're almost getting screwed over. I think they'll probably be fine. Land is valuable, so you could sell it, so they're not going to like exactly go into destitute poverty, but you know, they're not going to be well off, and they'll probably need to sell their land, which isn't great. This all, like, in spite of all this, like, pretty much like the populace of India disliking this policy, or at the very least having material condition to dislike this policy, Modi is about to get elected for a third term. I mean, what do you do about that? I mean, I believe it was in this article. I mean, it had to be, right? So, Modi was getting ready to get a third term, despite the fact that he has been the pioneer of by far one of the worst policies in recent history, like in the recent histories in like post like 2000s. I mean, Modi has been like an absolute asshole in charge, but this is not election winning material. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation you could draw. I'm not going to draw it, and I do not recommend you draw it for, I feel, obvious reasons. Not because I don't think there's a chance that there's like election interference or anything like that, but rather because you, a layman, and me, a layman, are fucking idiots. And so no matter how true or on the ball we might be, speculation is unbacked up by data. I could probably fetch you data that would back up the speculation, but I'm not going to, because I don't care, because it's just disappointing. We are watching a basically dictator kill, and I mean kill, a bunch of people through starvation, because they just don't care. They are going to neglect their populace to starvation, and I feel like no one cares. That they're just... I think Reuters accidentally said it best by saying a rare third term election. Like, even Reuters was surprised. Like, yeah, no, this doesn't happen at all. And this guy who's doing like speed running the worst policy decisions is about to get it. Fun, I guess. Sorry, that last story kind of like actually pissed me off to the point where I couldn't really make a coherent argument, and also my ears been bothering me again. I'm really trying to get back into the game of YouTube. I feel like I say that a lot. But I think genuinely, like, feeling better. Did you know I wasn't eating enough protein? I didn't either. So yeah, taking care of yourself, apparently there's a reason to do it. You should maybe take care of yourself. There's a lot of things I wanted to talk about tonight that I just wasn't able to. I didn't write a script tonight. I made the assets before recording, and I was like, okay, I know what to talk about when these assets are on screen, but I didn't make a script because I was like, I don't want to read a script again. And then I wasn't able to remember like some of my arguments, and you know, mistakes happen. I plan to continue working on just about everything. I will, I'll upload when I can. I'll remember to make, Friday night news if I can. And if I can't, shit happens. I am planning on releasing a video essay at some point. I've talked about it on Twitter and in Discord at times, but I've been actually working on it lately, and I think I can get it out before the summer. I'm actually trying to invest in a camera, but I'm not sure if I'll actually get one in time to record the video essay. So I'll either need to fix my phone camera or rely on maybe Thomas's camera on his phone. So that's what I've been doing. I might have another Minecraft video out next week. I've been dealing with a lot of issues while recording, primarily just like losing what I've been working on and getting distracted and working on something bigger and greater. And part of me is kind of just thinking of releasing that because I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I just want to have an excuse to have more fun with it. And right now I'm trying to like finish a task. Sorry for the normal Friday night news viewers who are like, this is where we talk about things that couldn't make it into the show. But this episode is also kind of doubling as a channel update, updating on like what I'm up to. And also I'm a bit scatterbrained right now, so I'm not like super on the ball as to like what I should be talking about. I honestly had fun. I had fun. Had fun is a dumb way to put it. I felt good. I felt useful making assets again. I remember some of the tricks I did for some of the old assets. I didn't want to do again for some reasons. I had some issues making some assets, but overall, I think I did a good job on the assets. I think I did a good enough job covering the news. I sincerely ask that if you enjoy what I do here, that you go make a Reuters account, go look at what's on the top of AP News, go look at the dumb things that like weird gossip weird gossip news is talking about. Like, a lot of it is dumb. You will find a lot of dumb news. You'll find a lot of depressing news. But most importantly, you'll find a lot of context that, while at times will be misleading, it will give you perspective onto issues and like how they accumulate. I'd spend a lot of time like thinking about like logic, and one thing that I remember from my time off of YouTube was I watched Jon Stewart's like comeback video or comeback episodes because he's like back on there, and I don't really agree with center left like liberal narratives. And so even though I find Jon Stewart very funny, I think that he's way too okay with institutions that, or not even institutions, logic that I don't see as good. I'm failing to come up with an example right now. The episode he did on like the GameStop thing. I disagree with the logic in that episode, and I think that it came to bad conclusions. But I really enjoy watching Jon Stewart because I enjoy seeing how people are going to look at issues and like what perspectives they're going to be taking and what arguments they're going to be making about a variety of issues. I know I just repeat myself, but seriously, that's something you get if you spend the time to read more articles, watch more sources, help watch reading sources from places you distrust or think are like just bad. I mean, that can be useful again to understand like what sort of arguments people will be presenting. This isn't, like this is usually used as like an excuse people will make to like watch radicalizing media and go down a reactionary pipeline. And so like, watch out for that. Don't do that. Don't do that, but be aware of the logic people will employ. That's all I'm saying. And that's something that I think is important. And that's something I try and practice. So I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to let you all go. I hope you have a great week. I hope it wasn't too depressing. This episode really was, hey, we have a shitstorm. Bring your umbrella. And without further ado, I have been Lizzie from OK So Studios. I bid you all adieu.